guys. Here we go. Check this out.
This is Whole Nother Level with Dwayne Lindo.
You know, frankly, I feel that we shouldn't even be talking about this. Simple as that.
The great L. Bushman.
They'd have to make so many adjustments, but I don't know what they have to do. They need a miracle. They need her?
Our girl, Kristen Yalway.
Yeah, it's going to be another show. Britney Spears has her show in Vegas. The Raiders are going to have their show in Vegas.
Frank Mazzei.
Did they win the offseason in free agency? Yes. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Craig Cousin.
How can you not put Tom Brady number one on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks? Man, this guy's a legend. Rings speak.
And Eric Wilson.
I didn't know Eric was going to let you talk.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. I've seen enough Facebook posts to know that you're not a Giants fan. Let's go. And welcome, everyone, to another edition of Whole Nother Level right here at Co-Work, Florida. This is your man, Eric Wilson. I am joined by the great L. Bushman. How are you?
That wasn't so great.
It's all right. It's all right. I had to get the test run out the way, you know.
There we go. I'm good, man. Other than got some allergies, I'm okay.
Dude, this pollen down here is
weird,
ridiculous this year. I mean, it's 1 minute you come outside and it's like your whole entire body just like clams up on you. Like, oh my God, what is this?
You would think the most wonderful time of the year where it's nice outside, it's not too hot, not too cold, you can go outside and enjoy spring training game, but you're hacking and coughing all over.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
for me.
Listen, I was like that last week. I was like, what is going on? But apparently the pollen in this time of year is higher than it has been in the past. Plus the weather's been kind of crazy. I mean,
rained last night?
Right. Completely. I mean, how's your parents' house and everything?
Fine. We didn't really get hit with a lot of the shenanigans that went on in Sarasota.
Okay.
So it's all good.
Yeah. And it just seemed to breeze past, up in Ellington where I'm at right now. But yeah, we are here every Tuesday. Normally we start at 6 o'clock, but tonight we're starting a little early, 5:30, because we've got some special guests coming on today. I owe a world of thanks. We all do here at Whole Nother Level to the great L. Bushman for pulling this off, man. You've got manager Buck Showalter joining us.
Mm-hmm.
Going to be talking to him here in a few. And then we've also got possibly A.D. McPherson, local guy from the 941 area, now doing big things. So this is a great show, and it is in thanks in part to the great L. Bushman.
Well, don't thank me yet. Hopefully they call in first. You can thank me after that. If they
right.
call in, if we get one out of the two, I'll be fine.
All right, fair enough.
Then you can call me the semi-great. We can go from there.
You're still great.
Okay.
So, I kind of don't want to really start any kind of conversation because I don't want to have to stop when they call in. But, March Madness officially kicks off tomorrow. The four teams that are still vying for that final spot are going to be playing tomorrow. So, but a couple teams got snubbed, and I'm very surprised by one name, and I'm sure you may or may not agree, but I'm surprised that never mind.
All right, he is a 3-time AL Manager of the Year. We have a pleasure to have him on our show. It is manager Buck Showalter of the Baltimore Orioles. Thanks for coming on, Buck. How are you doing this afternoon?
Good. How are you? A little cooler weather here.
Very nice outside. I think it was from all the rain we had last night because everybody was freaking out in Sarasota. I think they were all thinking a monsoon was coming. But, a great day for playing baseball, of course. You did have a split squad game today, I'm assuming?
No. We had we are split because a lot of our players are at the World Baseball Classic. It's kind of crazy spring because we're down here so much longer because of early preparation for the World Baseball Classic, and we're missing 7 or 8 players that are currently representing their country. So it's a different look.
And that's something I'm glad that you brought because myself and my co-host Eric Wilson, we had a debate about this on our Sunday show at J-Dubs here in Sarasota about the WBC. Now, I know you got a lot of big-name players that are out there right now. You got Adam Jones out there. You got Manny Machado out there, too, as well. So I like the WBC, but the way I think they have the placement of it, I don't think they should have it right before this season. Eric's okay with it. Now, Buck, I kind of wanted your opinion on do you think they should have the WBC right before the whole spring training, in the middle of spring training and right before the season starts, because you have a lot of big name players that are playing in this tournament now. They could be susceptible to injury. Now, do you think they should have it at this time of year, or maybe push it back to later in the year, maybe during the time of the fall where teams aren't in the playoff run?
Well, first of all, people a lot smarter than us are just deciding if it's something that's growing our game globally, and that's very important. I found it. Try to keep in mind that we are not on this earth alone, and there's other people that can play this game very well. These are the best players the world has to offer in the major leagues here. We're lucky that the United States is considered to have the best baseball league in the world. But personally, it does create some challenges for us. It's one of those things. A lot of people complain about something, but they don't have a solution. You could do it during the All-Star break when everybody's at their peak. You'd have to do it in a very condensed form and shut down the season for a couple of weeks. Doing it at the end of the season doesn't make any sense because everybody's arms. The biggest issue with it is trying to get people to pitch and not put them in harm's way. I'm biased. I'm here to do what's best for the Baltimore Orioles in our city, and I do look at things through biased glasses, but I do understand what they're trying to accomplish with our game, and it seems to be popular. It does hurt the Caribbean World Series because a lot of those players in Venezuela and Dominican and Mexico don't play it in the Caribbean World Series when they have the World Baseball Classic. So there's a give and take here, and people have put a lot of thought into this, and it's not perfect. It gets better every time we do it, but they think that we're getting a real good return from it, and I can see how they might think that way.
Awesome.
Mr. Showalter, this is Eric Wilson, and again, thank you so much
Hi,
Hi, how are you doing?
Good.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Whole Nother Level. So speaking of, looking through biased glasses, I have to ask you, what are your expectations going into this year? You guys went almost 90 wins, 89 and 73. You tied for second in your division. Unfortunately, you lost to the Blue Jays in the ALWS. So I just wanted to know what your outlook was for this season.
Well, my outlook is to try to be as good as we're capable of being. That may sound like a stock answer, but really, as you go into spring, there's a lot of things out of your control. The number one thing you'd like to be assured of is the health of your players, because unlike a lot of the, we have three teams in our division whose payroll is a lot more than ours. So, we have to try to stay healthy and make sure we have a good farm system coming. But the thing that we want to accomplish is that we're going to reach our level, that we're going to be as good as we're capable of being, and that's what the goal is down here, and where it takes us. I'm not one of those guys that has to know about something before it happens. We live in a society today that wants to know about something before it happens. Everybody likes predicting, the Sweet 16, 64 teams, who's going to win, who's not. I'm really okay with finding out when it happens. And so I have a lot of confidence with the people we're surrounding ourselves with that we will seek our level, and I think it might be pretty good.
One question I think a lot of our viewers are wondering about is Chris Tillman coming off a shoulder injury from last year and recently had a setback. How is Chris? How's he doing? How bad is it? Is he you expect him back anytime soon, or maybe in the later half of the year?
Well, there's some unknown right now. I think he's felt a lot better the last 2 days each day, and we're trying to get our arms around the next steps that we're going to take to get him back on the field. It's going to be when and not if, but we feel like structurally he's in pretty good shape. But there's always wear and tear on pitchers. The good Lord didn't intend you to put your arm over your head and jerk it down violently 100 times every pitch day. That's why we walk around with our hands, our arms dangling, and the reason why softball pitchers don't get sore arms. So, I say 30, 35 starts, they may feel good maybe 5 of those times. They pitch through a lot of things. So we're trying to decide that, and just because something's delayed doesn't mean it gets denied. So we're trying to be smart about this. It's a long season.
I like your analogy there. Something that just because it's delayed doesn't mean it's denied. I think we might have to borrow that phrase from you. One last thing I do want to ask you. We've heard a lot of good things about Chris Lee, Jason Aguino, and I hope I pronounced that correctly, and Gabrielle Noah.
You got two beauties there, Aquino and Anoa. That's to pronounce those pretty close to right. I'm impressed.
Well, thank you. Can we expect one of these guys to kind of maybe come into the rotation and not necessarily be a filler for Tillman, but just be an added bonus to your pitching rotation?
Well, we got some good lucky guys, some guys that could ambush some other teams if they don't give them the credit needed. I'm fine with our depth, and we might have to pick up that slack. You mentioned Aquino and Yanoa. You add Mike Wright and Tyler Wilson and Chris Leaf got a chance to be one of those guys, and we've got a couple other guys we're looking at. But obviously we'd like to have Chris with his track record going into the last year of his contract, and I know it's bothering him not to be able to be out there, but I feel comfortable with the depth that we have there.
Awesome. Now, Buck, I know before we get you out of here, March Madness is upon us. Do you pay attention all to bracketology?
Who are you going with?
I am a Duke Blue Devils fan all the way. I've been watching them
really
since.
Step out there. Really step out there. Really
no, hold on, Buck. Now,
that was a tough one.
I've been watching them since I was.
Sleeper? Who's your sleeper? Who's your under the radar team?
My sleeper for this year, and a lot of people are going to be probably clawing at me right now, and I have two. My first one is going to be Wichita State, and my other one is going to be I do like Florida State.
He went there.
I know I did. I'm a Seminole fan by heart.
Don't say that too loud.
So do you guys do anything in the clubhouse? Do you guys have any kind of bracketology competition with you guys?
God, we're not allowed. We're not allowed to do any betting in a clubhouse. You know that.
Exactly.
We're not allowed to.
What is wrong with you?
There's no betting going on.
No.
There's one across the hall. We do it for tokens.
So
we're not allowed to exchange.
So I got to ask you, who you taking in the tournament?
Oh, I got just one sleeper team, Southern Methodist. I think I love the team. One, my daughter went to law school there and graduated, and watching them, they've only had 6 or 7 scholarship players the whole year. I'm a season ticket holder. Some of the most fun I had was watching them and the way they play as a team. It's a team that's really easy to pull for. Larry Brown was there, and now they're just the epitome of a team. They're all 6'5", 6'6". They get in foul trouble, they lose. They play the game right. They play defense. They're well coached. They're smart. They don't aggravate you watching them play, and it's a team that was really fun to pull for. And they beat Cincinnati and Memphis to get to. They're 30-14, and they end up with a 6th seed. Go figure.
Yeah. Now let me ask you a question. Who do you want more? Do you want Providence or do you want USC in that first round? Because we're going to find out here.
It doesn't matter.
Don't matter. Okay.
It doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter as far as it's going to be a tough game to get to this point. But the problem is, SMU's playing with house money because everybody threw them underneath the bus, and they got a real attitude. I would not want to play them.
No, I agree. For me, because I'm from the Pennsylvania area, I'm going to go, unlike most people, unless you're a fan, I'm saying Nova is going to repeat this year, even though the great Al Bushman here over here.
What does that stand for, Nova? Is that like Nova Scotia?
Villanova, the Villanova Wildcats.
Oh, Villanova.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Gotcha.
But my sleeper actually is Vermont. Seated at 13, I really think they're going to go deep.
That's a real sleeper. That's like dead asleep.
I think they're going to go deep. I think they'll make it to the Elite Eight. I think they've got something definitely to prove.
Really?
I do.
That'd be a great story.
I do.
Now, Buck, he's lost a lot of money to me during the football season for fantasy and betting on weird bets for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Are you all allowed to bet in your profession like that?
It's a gentleman's.
It's a gentleman's kind of deal. We're allowed to do that.
That's why we do tokens here.
There you
go.
go.
Why we do tokens.
There you go.
Well, Buck, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on our show. We do greatly appreciate it. And I'm actually a Tampa Bay Rays fan, so I hope you guys do well, but not too well over my Rays. But
don't worry about it. You'll beat them.
Good. They're going to be much improved this year. I like their club. I like the way I like their manager. And some of the additions they made, they're going to be a real challenge for us.
Yeah, but they're not beating the Orioles this year. That's okay. You don't have to worry about them. Take care.
Tell you what, don't underestimate the starting pitcher. The return of Cobb is huge for them.
Thank you, Buck. Thank you very much for saying that. I appreciate that. Have a good one, Buck. Thank you. Have a great season.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys. You take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was 3-time AL Manager of the Year, Buck Schultwalter, here on Whole Nother Level. That was amazing. And again, great Al Bushman, thank you.
And our first official huge guest.
Yeah.
So
yes, that is big time.
So I'm glad that we spoke to him about the bracket. And there's one team that I left off my sleeper list.
And who was it?
Northwestern.
Really?
First time ever in the tournament. these guys could be the Cinderella story of the whole tournament.
Well, Mike Greenberg is probably loving you right now for saying that. I mean, but they are seeded number 8, first round against Vanderbilt. I mean, I'll go with Northwestern, but then coming out of that, whoever they win, whoever they face, whether it be Notre Dame or Princeton, in my personal opinion, I think – oh, no, I'm sorry. Gonzaga, South Dakota State. Oh, yeah, it's over for them. They might get out of Vanderbilt, but I don't see them beating Gonzaga.
Really?
I don't.
See, I know Gonzaga's ranked number 1 and everything. I think they might be the first number 1 to get eliminated. I really do.
Looking at and I haven't even finished my brackets yet. I know I got to get mine into you, but – listen, the 4 teams that are the top 4, Nova, Kansas, North Carolina, Gonzaga, I'll agree with you. Gonzaga is probably the first number 1 to get bounced out. It's just a question of who's going to be that team. Like if I'm going to just take them right now and I'll take the West and kind of break it down for you, I've got Gonzaga. I'll give Northwestern the nod there. Notre Dame, West Virginia. I'm going to say Xavier is going to top Maryland. Florida Gulf Coast is going to be Florida State. Sorry. I'll take St. Mary, and I'll take Arizona. And those are my teams moving forward.
Okay.
Now, from there, I mean, I got to do a little bit. But, I mean, again, these aren't my final. This is just me kind of looking at everything, saying where I think Gonzaga may wind up losing. It might be in the Elite 8. So let's see. Right now, I'd have Gonzaga beating Northwestern. I would have West Virginia beating Notre Dame. So West Virginia, Gonzaga.
See, I have Notre Dame beating West Virginia.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
And that in that conference, I mean, the ACC is tough as it is.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's been playing some pretty good basketball lately. I like Notre Dame's team. I want to talk about snubs real quick. A lot of people were kind of up in arms about Syracuse being snubbed.
That was the team.
Because of their big wins against Florida State and Duke. But I want to point out another team that was really snubbed was Illinois State.
Yeah.
Okay, 17-1 in their conference and then 27-6 overall. I think they should be in.
I agree.
So, I love March Madness because there's a lot of schools that should be in, a lot of schools that should be out. I don't think a lot of people should be up in arms about Syracuse. Syracuse, without those 3 key wins against big-time schools, they were nothing. They were terrible this year.
But it's when they showed up. And I think that's sometimes you have to take that into consideration. This isn't like college football where, every game seriously matters. I mean, these guys set up tournaments just to get into the tournament. You've got the Big East Championship, the Big Ten Championship, the SEC Championship, the ACC Championship, the AAC Championship.
Well,
looking at the runs of some of these teams, but if you've got wins against marquee teams or teams that are getting in, I think that should play into, do they get a nod?
I think Syracuse got a nod. I don't think it was enough.
Okay.
And I think winning your conference championship, and we've kind of argued about this before in football, is I don't think it matters in March Madness because Duke won their conference title, but they're ranked as a really low-seeded number 2. And a lot of people thought they were going to be a number 1, and a lot of people even thought they were going to be a number 3 seed, but they're now low number 2. So,
yeah, but I mean, it's Duke. We expect Duke every year to get in. We expect them to be a high seed. So just because they don't get a 1 this year, listen, they don't get a 1, they're a 2. They're probably still going to be at the very least in the Elite 8, if not into the Final 4.
I would say this. Duke has found their stride when they needed to.
Of course.
Because now they're going to be
6 games.
They're going to be something to reckon with.
You only got to be good for 6 games. That's it.
Okay.
That will get you cutting down the nets and earning the title of NCAA champion for men's basketball.
How many brackets are you doing?
I'm only doing 2.
I'm doing 2. I have one where Kentucky wins it all, and I have another one where Duke.
No, I haven't. Like I said, I haven't done my brackets. I'll finish them up tonight. I've been busy with other things, but I can tell you right now, definitely in one of my brackets, like I said, just to Buck Showalter, I have Villanova repeating.
Okay.
I know it's crazy, but what they have shown me just in the last month with the buzzer beaters and just being that team that never says die. This team does not quit. They will play till the final buzzer and then some.
I say they don't make it to the Elite Eight.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
No, I say they don't.
They will.
They don't.
They definitely
Well, you know
will.
what? Agree to disagree.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, whatever. You want to take a first break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
All right. When we come back, we've got a lot more to go into. I forgot Ben from BS3 Sports is calling in a little bit later to talk about the whole Romo deal.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he's calling in at 6:15.
Awesome.
So Ben from BS3 Sports will be joining us. We do have 80 McPherson hopefully joining us on the show as well a little bit later. But when we come back, there was an incident during a St. Patrick's Day parade with a certain Cowboys running back who likes boobs, don't we all? But for him, yeah, I don't think he should have done that. When we come back from the break, this is Whole Nother Level.
And welcome back to Whole Nother Level right here at Co-Work, Florida. Great L. Bushman, your man Eric Wilson in the building. Just had a great conversation and interview with three-time AL Manager of the Year, Mr. Buck Showalter. First huge guest of Whole Nother Level. That was actually kind of cool. I mean, he was awesome.
Great guest.
Great guest. We got our man Ben from the BS3 Sports Show chiming in here at 6:15. You said talking about a certain team down in Texas that, you know, I don't like and stand. I don't know how we let this always seem to happen on this show. We have to talk about them.
Well, I think it's because they're in your division. And other divisions attract other divisions.
Yeah, but I don't want to. We can talk about the Giants. We can talk about.
Yeah, but the Cowboys have more drama than them. Yeah, they have more drama than the Giants.
We'll see what happens.
I mean, ODB can propose marriage to a net.
This is true, see?
But he's not pulling out girls' boobs and stuff. At least that we don't.
Yeah, this is very true. So, you know, you teased it before we went to break, so I'm going to let you go ahead and run with it.
All right, first things first. I have a problem with this. St. Patrick's Day is this week.
Yeah, it's this Friday.
Why are people celebrating it a week early?
I don't know.
It's on a Friday.
I agree.
Well, I just don't get it. If it's like celebrating Christmas a week early. And for some people, this is Christmas. It's like a national drinking holiday. And I just found out a couple months ago, I'm Irish.
You are?
Yes.
No wonder you can hold your beer.
Top of the morning to you.
Yeah.
All right, so this happened over the weekend. There was at a St. Patrick's Day parade on Greenville Avenue where Ezekiel Elliott, the star running back for the Cowboys, was on a float with a couple of nice-looking women, and one of the women, she had a nice little low-cut top going on. You could tell in the video that he's clearly hammered. Okay. Now, one of the girls points towards him, and it's like, oh yeah, that's him, and he kind of comes over and pulls down her shirt, and boob pops out. But report says she was cool with it. She took it all in stride. She ended up partying with him later that night. Now, with his history, what the hell was he thinking?
I don't know. You ask me like I'm supposed to know. Zeke down there in Jerry World doing what he wants with whomever he wants. Didn't he learn from his crazy ex, the one that got the Instagram post of him and stuff? And
I guess not.
So now he want to go out drinking
and grab a titty
and just let a boob pop out.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a boob pop out.
Listen, he's still a young guy. I mean, what is he? 22?
Yeah, he's young, man.
Yeah.
He's straight out of college.
So, I mean, I guess I could kind of maybe sort of give him a slight pass because I'm saying, okay, you're in the National Football League. You're playing for, quote, America's team, unquote.
No, America's team is now the Patriots. Sorry.
Well, I agree with you on that, but there are still people, and I'm sure Ben would probably be first to say it as well, that Dallas is still known as America's team.
No.
But what I'm saying to you is he put himself in the limelight by being the star running back that he is. Somehow, some way, somebody should have let him know, okay, here's a list of things that you don't do. And somewhere in there, it should be pulling a girl's shirt down to expose her breasts.
I mean, at least it wasn't Greg Hardy doing this.
Oh, jeez. But like you said, if you look at his track record, this is what people are going to remember him for. Not for him almost breaking Eric Dickerson's rookie season record. Not for the Cowboys getting 13-3. Not for Dak Prescott and him being the 1-2 combination and being the future of Dallas. People are going to talk about, oh, he was at a parade and he pulled some girl's shirt down. I mean, we talk about this all the time. The choices that an athlete makes. Listen, I've been saying this for as long as we've been doing this. The minute you become a public figure,
stay home.
Whether you want it or not, the minute you become a public figure, you no longer have a private life, especially in 2017. So, you know what? If you want to go out and drink and party and have fun, that's fine. But you've got to take accountability and responsibility for your actions.
Now, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Do you think this is a stupid question. Jerry Jones is probably not going to do anything about it.
He ain't going to do nothing about it.
Now, do you think there'd be much more of a hoopla if he did a motorboat to this girl or just pull down the shirt?
I don't know.
Motorboat, really, she has her shirt on. So.
Right. I mean, I guess it would depend on how far he took this. If it was simply, yes, he pulled down her shirt, her breasts were exposed, and then, okay, the woman is cool with it.
She was cool with it.
But this is what I don't want to have happen to him. As a young African-American man
or you think he can do
Texas,
it all the time, right?
No. What I don't want to have happen is start of the season, she all of a sudden gets a change of mind and says, oh, well,
I felt raped.
Right. You know what I mean? So that's what I don't want. And that's the way I look at it. And this is me. This is how I feel. But again, I can't blame her because he did it.
But she kind of told him to, too.
But what I don't want is for it to get turned around. Let this kind of let it happen. Someone needs to let him know, hey, Zeke, this is not how we roll. And you move on from it. Now, hopefully, there are some people there with some sense who, got this girl's name and information because I don't want it to come back. Personally, I don't want it to come back. As an Eagles fan, I hope it bites him in the ass. And he has to sit out a couple games, especially when he plays us. But for the sake of, just go out and have fun. But there, unfortunately, as an athlete or as any public figurehead, you are limited in what you can and can't do. So it's way too much time talking about the Cowboys.
And way too much time talking about a titty. Well, not really.
It's not October. We can stretch it out longer.
And it's not actually St. Patrick's Day yet because that's on Friday.
I know. I don't get that either.
Yeah, I really don't. I see people posting all over Facebook. Oh, it's St. Patrick's Day parade. It's like it's next week and it's on a Friday.
Right. If it was on like a Tuesday, then maybe I could.
I can see that happening. Yeah.
Right. But again, it's Friday. Ain't nobody going to work on Friday.
No.
Chicago, the Magnificent Mile.
They already dyed it green.
Already? Wait a minute.
Yes, they already did it. It's weird.
Okay, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. So, speaking of craziness, can we talk about something else for a second?
Of course we can.
Because I have an issue with a gentleman, and I'm using that term very loosely. LeVar Ball.
Yeah, he's done lost his mind.
Yes. Someone needs to commit him to Bellevue. He wants to challenge Michael Jordan?
Well, he said back in the day he would have beat Michael like one-on-one straight up.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, my size, I would have just destroyed him.
Listen, I have never been a Jordan fan. I have respected what the man has done for the game, but I have never been a Michael Jordan fan. But let me tell you something. I don't know who this guy is or who he thinks he is. You are not beating Michael Jordan one-on-one. You might get 2, maybe 3 points. And if that, Jordan going to mop the floor with you. And he'll do it with no shoes on. So that's why I'm like, why is this guy, what is his reasoning for all of a sudden now making all these statements saying that his son is better than Steph Curry and, it's just ridiculous. Listen, I get it, okay? We have a caller. You're on with Whole Nother Level. Who we talking to?
We are talking to Aubrey Debos from Arlington, Texas.
Aubrey, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, man. Great L. Bushman, this is one of my men that I met up in Indianapolis at the Sports Management Worldwide Conference.
You actually did work up there.
I did actually do some work, man. We actually had a good time, great conversation, but I figured he was going to chime in because his ears must have been burning. We were talking about your Dallas Cowboys. More importantly, we were talking about your boy Zeke and the slight situation that he may have got himself in pulling down the girl's shirt at the St. Patty's Day party, pre-party, I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah, he made a very irrational decision, and I was actually talking to one of my friends. He actually is an athletic trainer for the Cowboys, and he was telling me that it's going to be all right because Jerry's going to handle it. I was like, no. You don't understand. This is in the same context as domestic violence. Almost. You can't do that. Like you're a football player, but you still can't do that.
Yeah. So, Aubrey, I want to switch gears here, and the Great L. Bushman and myself, we were going to talk about LeVar Ball, but I want to talk to you about Romo. I want to hear the latest from you, my friend. What's going on down there in Texas? Like, what is going on with your boy, well, soon-to-be ex-boy?
So right now, what they're trying to do, in my opinion, is they're trying to not make the same mistakes they made with DeMarcus Ware. So Jerry is trying to trade Romo for anything that he can, whether it's a 7th round draft pick or one of the backups on the team, maybe an offensive lineman since Doug Free just retired. They're trying to get anything that they can for Tony Romo because about 2-3 years ago, they let DeMarcus Ware just walk because they couldn't pay him, and then he went and won a Super Bowl with the Broncos. So what they're trying to do is get some return on their investment with Romo.
Aubrey, do you see any team wanting to take on that contract, though? I mean, Romo's got so much money left on his deal where what team would want to take that on?
Let's face
it. It's a tough question to answer because it just depends on who really needs a quarterback right now. I mean, the Houston Texans, they're looking at Tom Savage as their quarterback, and let's be serious. Tom Savage is a good backup quarterback, but he's not gonna take you to the playoffs. Romo in the right situation, with the right offensive line, because you know about his injury problems. In the right situation, I believe he could be a playoff quarterback. I think the Houston Texans would be a good fit for him. The Denver Broncos, maybe not so much because they have a young gun that they just drafted last year, and I feel like he's ready to take over that role as the starting quarterback. I would say the Houston Texans are even, as much as Romo wouldn't want to do it, maybe the New York Jets, to tell you the truth.
I honestly think he used to be the most logical choice because they unloaded Brock Osweiler to free up a bunch of money. So, I mean, they could always trade to get Romo because then they would take on Romo's contract and they have enough room for it. I think that's the only logical place where he can go is Houston. But, Houston's taking a big gamble on Romo who hasn't played a full season, who with a gust to win could break his arm or break his leg. We call him Mr. Glass on the show. So, but that's something Bill O'Brien and the rest of the guys on the upstairs will have to look at. But I honestly do think Houston's the best spot. They've got the best, guy. He's got so many weapons on that team to go into where you got DeAndre Hopkins, you got Will Fuller, you got Lamar Miller. You've got all those guys around him. I think he's going to do well there if he goes. I mean, if he goes to Denver, I don't think not so much.
Aubrey, before you get into that, Great L. Bushman, this was the conversation that we were having Saturday night when we were sitting at the Colts Grill in Indianapolis. It was Aubrey, it was myself, and another man of ours by the name of DC. And so we came down and asked the question, okay, Romo to Houston for how much? And I originally said, you've got to give Romo – I know. You know where I'm going with this. You've got to give Romo, in my opinion, I said give him 2 years, $26 million. Aubrey shut me down immediately. He's like, I'm not giving him more than $10 million. I was like, wait.
No. My argument was, okay, Romo is still, even at his age and with his injury history, he's still a quarterback that can put you in contention to go to the playoffs. So in my opinion, you can't pay him anything less than $10 million. But using that same argument of him being injury prone and his age, you can't pay him more than $15 million. So I would say a sweet spot in there is half of that, or in between. So 12.5, maybe $11 million a year, maybe 2-3 years. The man only has like a good solid year left in him, because I believe next year, depending on whose team he goes to, he'll be the backup next year.
I say you give him 2 years, $24 million.
All right,
2 years, $24 million.
Okay, so 12 a year.
12
All right, so I'm good with that.
I give him that.
I said 2 for 22. I said, because I said 13, Aubrey said 10. I said, well, hold up. I said, give me 11. I said, give me 2 for 22. And here was my thing. You want to earn more money?
Okay, yeah.
You have to be healthier or start more than 9 games. Because we know what Tony Romo can do as long as he has the offensive line to back him. You hit the nail on the head when you said Houston and all the weapons. I say don't go to Denver. Because I'm sorry, C.J. Anderson, Demaryius Thomas, and Emmanuel Sanders, they don't show up till pretty much the last quarter of the season and maybe into the postseason. Them first 9, 10, 11 games, I don't know who's showing up, who's not showing up. I'll see flashes of these guys. So
I agree. And then with Houston, it's not only Will Fuller and Braxton Miller and DeAndre Hopkins. Also, you have arguably the best defensive player in the game right now, in J.J. Watt. So he actually helps Rome on the other side of the ball as well.
You're right about that. Aubrey, man, thanks for chiming in. We really appreciate it, bro. I'm going to give you a call later on this week. I want to talk to you about a couple of things, all right?
All right. Hey, I have one more question for y'all since we're on Romo's contract.
Sure.
So we talk about his contract structure, but what do y'all feel he would be guaranteed?
I say you guarantee him.
I say you guarantee him $14 million.
I would say guarantee him $14 million, but there's got to be a stipulation in his contract. He has to play at least 8 games.
Yeah, 9 games. Yeah, he has to.
And then that money can be guaranteed.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
All right.
I agree with that.
All right, brother. Good talking to you.
Right.
We'll talk to you soon, man.
Day.
Thank you. That's my man, Aubrey, man. Great guy. Like I said, we sat and talked for probably an hour and a half just discussing Tony Romo. I never was like so miserable and so happy at the same time. I'm serious. Just a bunch of class act guys, man. I can't wait to have them back on the show and talk and just it was so great just to hear their opinion and get them to talk and just they asked me, because I was one of the few people there who was there for broadcast and for media. Most people there to be an agent, to be an analyst, and they said, why do you want to do this? And I told them, I said, because it's what I love to do. And we started talking about Romo. And halfway through the conversation, I stopped everybody. I said, this right here, this is why I want to be in broadcasting. It kind of just, it made me remind myself why I love doing this with you and everybody here at a whole nother level. So.
See, I just do it for the money and the fame.
That's all right.
But we don't have any money yet.
No, we're getting the fame, though.
I know.
All right, so, are we done talking about LeVar Ball, besides the fact that the man wants $1 billion shoe deal for his family?
He's out of his mind. First of all, when you are saying that you could have beat Michael Jordan, strike one.
Give me Michael Jordan now. And
exactly. Michael
Jordan would still beat you.
And I can't believe he's trying to command a $1 billion. What shoe franchise besides maybe Swiss? Remember the Swiss Kicks or whatever.
K-Swiss?
K-Swiss. Maybe K-Swiss will give you $1 billion if they were still around. I say no.
No.
Stupid.
Ridiculous.
Very dumb.
All right. Well, our man Ben's going to be chiming here in a few minutes. So you have a new segment that you kind of wanted to bring on.
Yeah, we're trying to bring new segments to the show.
Every week you got a different segment.
Well, that's good.
Listen, I'm not complaining. I'm just like,
well,
okay.
It seems
cool.
like you are.
No, I'm not. I'm just so worried or not worried. Is
worried
that what
or not worried? Yes.
Okay. All right.
I was gonna give you the questions.
No, go ahead, please.
Well, you got to give me the questions.
All right. Worried or not worried? David Price will start the season on the DL.
If you're the Red Sox, I would be worried.
Really?
Because this could turn out to be more of an issue, especially if it's an elbow, because he could go on the DL for the rest of the year for Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, but
and they were saying that before.
But even with, as you've called them yourself, murderer's row of pitching,
I say worried though.
You're still going to say worried.
Yes.
I'm going to say not worried.
Okay.
I look at the rest of the squad that's up there in Boston, and I'm saying to you, where one man falls off, the others will step up. And I feel with their farm system, they will get somebody who will be able to not be David Price, but be able to complement the Boston Red Sox and just be a system pitcher.
I honestly don't think the Red Sox are going to be as good as everybody thinks they are.
Well, you're slightly biased.
No, I'm not. You know what? I'm not being biased in this. I am saying they're not going to be as good. They're not going to be as good.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So worried or not worried? Nick Foles is back with the Eagles. Should Carson Wentz be concerned?
That was the question I was going to ask you.
Oh.
Because this is your team.
Yeah. I'm not worried at all.
You're not worried?
No. Nick Foles understands.
Do you think Carson Wentz could have that sophomore slump?
I think that's why we brought Nick Foles in.
Okay.
I think it was very smart of Doug Peterson and Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie to make that decision. Because, listen, not everybody's going to have a turnaround like Jameis and Marcus Mariota did. You know what I mean? It's called the sophomore slump for a reason. Now, granted, those two gentlemen avoided it, and congratulations and kudos to them. But that doesn't mean, listen, everybody is expecting Dak Prescott to go 13-3 next year.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. Everybody's expecting Carson Wentz to have a better year now that the weapons are there with Alshon Jeffries and Torrey Smith. And now we've got Jordan Matthews in his right position as a slot receiver. That may or may not happen.
Okay.
So you need some type of insurance, and I'm sorry. I haven't seen enough with Chase Daniels' body of work to think that, okay.
Well, Chase Daniels is no longer with the organization.
Well, he requested a trade, and guess what? Good for him.
He'll be a backup somewhere.
Yeah. But Nick Foles understands his role. Nick Foles knows coming in, listen, I am there to kind of guide this guy. And should something happen to where he is not producing at the level that we expect him to, I know this system.
Okay.
I can play in this system. So, no, I thought it was a very smart move by Philadelphia, and I'm not worried.
Okay.
Not at all. So, the last one here, the Bulls have lost 5 straight. Worried or not worried?
Well, you got to look at it this way. Dwayne Wade's old team has taken the spot of his new team in the playoffs.
Okay.
So if I was him, I would be worried.
You think so?
I do. I mean, they've got a great roster of guys. I mean, Butler's having an MVP season. Derrick Rose is actually staying healthy this year.
Derrick Rose is in New York.
Oh, I'm sorry. Whatever. But either way, I would be worried. A 5-game skid. Your old team has now replaced you in the rankings for the playoff spot. I would be worried. And they were talking about firing the coach.
Here's what I'll say in regards to the Chicago Bulls. Unfortunately, because of Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc, Luke Longley, Steve Kerr, they have created such a high bar for any team to follow them that it's difficult because we're always going to go back to the Bulls of the 90s. So I am slightly worried because it's amazing how, as you pointed out, Miami now has taken over, and some people might even be so skeptical or so cynical, shall we say, that Dwayne Wade was holding us back.
You know, you could say that because they're now a younger, faster, those guys can play longer minutes.
Right.
So, yeah, I would say so, that he was holding them back.
So, you know.
He may be even holding back the Bulls.
I don't know. I guess that's the question. Should Dwayne Wade just go ahead and retire, take his championships? He's got 3 rings.
I say after this season,
yeah, he's got 3.
He retires.
Yeah. Retire in Chicago, retire at your home state, and kind of move on with it. Let the Bulls be a young team because you know what? That's what's needed right now in the NBA. You need a bunch of young teams, young, hungry guys to go out there and play. Listen, Duncan went out on his way. I think Nowitzki's on his way out pretty soon. I think D-Wade should join that list. I really do.
Okay.
All right. Let's take a break before we get our man Ben in here. You are listening to us Whole Nother Level live every Tuesday right here on Spreaker.com. Also, check out the replay on www.HNL3.com. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Whole Nother Level right here at Coburg, Florida. All right, Great Al Bushman Joined by your man, Eric Wilson. And we got our man, Ben, from the BS3 Sports Show chiming in here in just a few minutes. We're going to talk a little winners and losers so far of this NFL free agency.
I like this.
I do. This is kind of cool. This is very. It's like as we kind of slide y'all on out of here today on Whole Nother Level. We got a couple of things we want to talk about.
He just hung up.
He just hung up.
Call again. Ben, call again, please.
Ben, call again, my man. What's up, man? But anyhow, yeah, this is kind of it's very soothing.
It's mellowed down music
as we relieve.
It's by the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, a stressful day. Thank you for chiming in with us. 813-699-5353. I don't want to get y'all too hyped up, but I do want to remind you that April 2nd, opening day, Whole Nother Level is going to be at Ferg's doing our baseball show.
We've got a contest going on.
Contest going. We're shooting a commercial that day. I mean, so much going on. We're going to be there. Y'all are going to see us all summer long.
I might dress up in my Stay Puft Marshmallow Man costume.
No, not opening day.
Well, I got to dress up in something.
No.
Come on, man. It'll be funny.
Put your great L. Bushman jersey on. Come out and support your team. Is that him?
Yeah, he just sent us a voicemail.
Oh.
I'll text him.
All right.
Technical difficulties.
Anyhow, April 2nd. Make sure y'all come check us out at Ferg's. Whole Nother Level's going to be there. A big shout out to Mark Ferguson for letting us come and take over. Also, March Madness is going on. So we are going to give you our bracket rundown. Check us out on Facebook.
We do have a kind of a competition going on Old School. Kristen has actually brought it upon herself to do a bracketology contest where you can buy a bracket and then put it into the pool. What the hell's going on here?
I have no idea. Did he hang up again?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Spreaker. Let's see if we can call him.
All right, let's try and call him. Let's do that. See if we can get him on the line.
I've never called anybody from this.
Ben?
Voicemail being first.
That's a voicemail. God. Do you want to get into winners and losers?
We can do that while we try to adjust this and get him on here. But, yeah, winners and losers of this NFL free agency. So, you know what? Great L. Bushman, I'll ask you. Give me one of your losers.
Losers. I am going to say, well, this is a tough one. I'm going to say Houston.
Wow, really?
Well, okay, so look at it this way. Before you hear me out.
Okay, I will.
Now, I know you dumped off Brock Osweiler.
Yeah.
Which frees up a lot of money to go after Romo.
Yep.
What do you do when Romo doesn't come to you? You still have, you have Tom Savage. That's pretty much it. Now you have to go into the draft and maybe pick up a quarterback. And I'm looking at it that way. I mean, I know they dumped off so much money. It was a smart move. But what if Romo says, I'm not going to Houston. I'm going somewhere else. That's something you have to look into. I think
they could try and make the play for Jimmy Garoppolo. They could.
But I know Bill O'Brien's got ties with the Patriots and all that, but you've got to give up so much. I don't think Houston has that much to give up. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's one of my losers so far. What do you have for a loser?
Oh, I hate to say it, but I really think one of the losers this year so far, and I mean, we still have the draft, and I don't know what they're going to do to really kind of pick themselves back up.
Now, remember, you can do players, too.
I know.
You can do players. Keeps ringing, then hanging up. Interesting.
I'm going to say the Carolina Panthers.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Here's my thing.
It's because they didn't do really anything?
They've been quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And after having the 6-10 season that they had, I fully expected them to make some moves this offseason that were going to not necessarily be shocking or amazing, but just...
Let's see if I can call. Keep going.
All right. Just get the Panthers some more. Just get them some more depth.
Yeah.
I mean, they're lacking at the cornerback position. They still haven't found anybody to really replace Josh Norman. And listen, Frank says it best. You're not going to the postseason with a guy named Fozzie as your running back. okay? And in a division that is getting better, especially with the moves that Tampa has made and the fact that Atlanta's pretty much bringing back most of their entire core, you know, I thought that Carolina would do more this offseason. Now, granted, like I said, the draft is we still have to wait and see, but nothing has surprised me or nothing has stood out to me to where I'm like, wow, Carolina's actually going to make some noise this season. Looking at it right now, I predict them to be in the same spot they were in last season.
Well, you did get back Julius Peppers.
One person, though.
Okay. All right, so
it's an aging Julius Peppers.
Okay. Winner.
Oh, winner by far is Philadelphia. Ain't no question about it.
Obviously for you.
Yeah. I mean, we got Alshon Jeffries and we got Torrey Smith. We brought back a solid backup quarterback and Nick Foles to complement Carson Wentz. Granted, we got rid of Connor Barwin and we released Benny Logan. I get that. But we will beef up our defense during the draft because the draft is, all we got to do right now, in my opinion. And this is just me. For all my Eagles fans listening, man, let me break it down for you really quick. Get rid of fumbleitis Ryan Matthews. We keep Darren Sproles. We find somebody to complement him. We keep the upbringing of Wendell Smallwood, which I know you keep saying to me you're putting a lot of faith in a rookie, but I'm telling you.
I don't know why. I understand why you're so on this guy.
Because I like what I've seen from this guy, number one. And number two, he fits the mold. He fits the scheme. He fits the Philadelphia Eagles style, man. I love this kid. Now, on the flip side of that, on my defense, I got Jalen Mills, who is only going to get better. I'm telling you, watch 31 this year. 31 is going to be the guy this year. He chased after a bunch of wide receivers last year and said, I want the best. And he's going to get it again this year. And he's only going to get better. So for me, you know what? Call me biased, call me whatever you want to call me. I'm telling you right now, Philadelphia, true winner in free agency.
Okay. You know where I'm going.
I know where you're going. And you deserve all right to go there.
I know.
I'm jealous of you.
You should be.
I am.
I'm so applauding the moves they made in free agency.
I want you in the playoffs. Make no mistake
Yes, you know why? Because I'm going to win your money.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes,
it don't matter whether
this
it's
time
here,
it's going to
Tampa,
be a bag full
or
of
it's
quarters.
in Philadelphia.
I think it'd work this time.
Hold on a level. Who we talking to?
All right, you got me.
Yeah!
All right.
It worked.
Woo!
Yeah, it finally worked.
Ben,
Jesus.
Wow. Technical difficulties aside, my brother, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great.
All right, so Ben, I want to hear your winner. First, actually, I want to hear your first loser of the free agency of this year. Who is your first loser of this year?
Clearly, it's the Browns. I mean, they've gotten into I don't know what you call that, but trying to spend most of their money and sign and trade for Osweiler, and nobody's looking to trade for him. To me, that clearly has to be the loser because they put themselves in a bad situation. And their top wide receiver from last year, Terrell Pryor, is gone. So it's only going downhill for them.
Don't you think? I mean, there's that Bleacher Report actually put Cleveland as a winner in free agency because of what they get. They've got all these draft picks they could dangle for maybe Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, do you think some of these moves could pay off in the end for them?
I don't think so. I think even if they do get Garoppolo, here's my thing on Garoppolo. Okay, he's played 2 games. This could be another Matt Castle. This could be Ryan Mallett. It could be that even if they do get him, that's not going to take him to the next level. And they're talking about drafting Myles Garrett, which, I mean, he's a beast, but is a defensive end going to completely change their team either? So I think it kind of starts from the top and down. I don't want to blame it on Hugh Jackson. I think it's just the organization as a whole just must be cursed or something. But I don't see things dramatically changing for the Browns anytime soon.
All right, Ben. So we only got a couple more minutes left. So really quick, who's your winner in the draft? I mean, in free agency, excuse me.
My winner, I would say, would have to be the Jaguars. It just seems like last offseason and this offseason, they've been piling up on their defense, and I think this is going to be a good team going into next year. I think this may be the year that they get over the hump and make it to the playoffs. But they've added some really good defensive pieces.
That's funny because a couple of my co-hosts by the name of Craig Cousin and Eric Wilson thought that last year, and look how that turned out.
I was a year early on that one, bro. I was a year early.
You sound like that Browns fan. This could be the year that it could happen. Oh my God.
Right.
Hey, Ben, I'm sorry to cut you short, brother. We only got about 2-3 minutes, man. Sorry for all the technical issues, but we'll definitely get you back on the show next time. But thank you for calling and chiming in, my brother.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Appreciate you guys.
All right. Talk to you soon.
I can see where he's going with it because they did load up on defense.
No, they did.
But the thing is, and I know Tom Coughlin's there as a VP of special operations, and they've got a new coach now. The main question is, are you really going to roll with your quarterback again?
Blake Bortles.
Are you really going to roll with Bortles? I mean, because if you have another season like you did, another disastrous season like you did this past season, I mean, do you go in the draft and maybe draft a quarterback? What do you do?
I don't know. But you know what? It's a 2-minute time. We got 2 minutes left. I'm going to let you take the floor. Great L. Bushman, your winner in free agency. Go ahead.
Yes, actually I have two since we've got 2 minutes left.
Fine, go ahead.
The first one, because I'll leave the best for last, was the New England Patriots who, well, I guess teams want to give the Patriots just free agents all over the place to make them better. Getting Brandon Cooks right there alone says we only have a couple more years left with Tom Brady. We want to give him another ring. A lot of people are saying he could be another Randy Moss. I don't think that, but with him as another weapon in that offense, they need to address the running back situation over there.
They do.
But with him joining Amendola, Hogan, Edelman, and the list goes, and Gronk too now, and also Dwayne Allen, that's a murderer's row of guys you have to throw to. Now, I would be wary maybe on the fantasy side because of how many looks he's going to get because Tom Brady can throw the ball to anybody on that offense now. So if you're in fantasy drafts right now, I would maybe draft Cooks a little bit lower than maybe the first or second round.
60 seconds.
So the biggest winner for me would be the Bucs. I mean, you go out in the first day, you get a receiver that you've always wanted, Deshaun Jackson, for 3 years, $35 million. Then you get defensive lineman Chris Baker, who can complement Gerald McCoy. Chris Baker can actually guard two people at once, while Gerald McCoy can go in and sack a quarterback. You get J.J. Wilcox to be in safety, and you can actually go back. I don't know why they re-signed Chris Conte. Yeah, I know you were waiting for me to say that too. And then you re-signed Jacquizz Rodgers, who, honestly, he did great filling in for Dougie. I still say you go out in the draft and get somebody to fill in for that power back, but that's my winners.
There you are. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this edition of Whole Nother Level. I'm actually going to be gone this Saturday, so the crew's going to hold it down here at Co-Work. But big shout out to everybody for chiming in. We really appreciate it. Again, thank you. Huge thank you to Buck Showalter, my man Aubrey for chiming in, our man Ben from the BS3 Sports Show. So for the Great Al Bushman, this is your man Eric Wilson. And until Saturday, excuse me, we have taken you to a whole nother level. We'll see you next time.
Gee, mate, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Autobots.